Criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Venu Varghese joins us now to discuss. Venu, welcome. What do we know about Whitakers' perspective on the Mueller probe?
He wrote a piece last year for CNN where he said that going into the finances of the Trump family would be crossing a red line. And he says that the letter put out by Rod Rosenstein doesn't give Mueller the authority to do that. But in looking at the letter itself, it says that that Mueller has the authority to investigate any matters that arose out of the investigation. So he writes this piece very interestingly saying he can't do that. And he says, oh, that's too broad. But the plain language is the plain language. And certainly, you know, the arguments with Paul Manafort and things that didn't arise specifically out of the those were, you follow the leads as a prosecutor.
Well, how much impact does he have over the scope and direction of the investigation?
This remains to be seen. I mean, technically, he's the one now overseeing it. I mean, he could take that position away from Rod Rosenstein. He's the acting attorney general. What Trump, you know, clearly President Trump picked this day for a reason, right? There's no doubt. Everybody's focusing on the midterm elections, and he points this out. And the letter submitted by Jeff Sessions, apparently, you know, Trump didn't get the opportunity to say directly to him, "You're fired." I'm sure he really wanted to say that. He's been dying to say that for the longest time. It's an undated letter, you know. So I mean, you know, there's a lot of question marks here, but certainly, look, he technically now he's in charge, acting in charge, and we'll see where he goes. Is he going to take certain steps? Well, then you're going to set up a Nixonian type situation again if he takes any fires or tries to limit the Mueller investigation.
So to be clear, if Whitaker did try to rein in the investigation, that would be within his power to do so. Is that correct?
Well, depending, not necessarily. He has to. The question is rein in versus fire, right? So he can only fire Mueller for cause. As far as where the investigation going, that's why it's an independent special counsel, right, to investigate him. And I don't think he's gonna have a problem if he tries to rein it in, and especially if he goes further, he's got to show that there's a reason to fire Mueller.
And I know this is a difficult question to answer. Is there any way at all to know what stage Mueller's investigation is in right now, and how significant this could change things moving forward?
Well, there was a report put out in Politico magazine by a former prosecutor who said that he believes that the Mueller investigation actually had subpoenaed President Trump, and there were indications in the docket entries that Trump was subpoenaed. There was an argument in the district court, and that then it was appealed to the D.C. Circuit. And the one judge appointed by Trump recused himself. So Trump has shot down and said no, he wasn't subpoenaed. But we know that Special Counsel Mueller was not going to do anything to affect the elections. Now I think you'll start seeing things come out, and I imagine more things to come out potentially with the indictment or the potential arrest of Donald Trump Jr. These are things that have been talked about and speculated, and we may see them soon enough.
So you mentioned the possibility that Whitaker does have the power to fire Mueller for cause, right?
Correct.
For cause. What would the chances of that be? I mean, obviously there's a lot we don't know right now, but do you think that's a real possibility, first of all? And what implications could that have for the Trump administration?
Is it a possibility? Anything's a possibility with President Trump, right? I mean, think about this. He hires a man to be the acting attorney general who had written an op-ed saying that the Mueller investigation had gone too far. I mean, it seems like it's heading in that direction. So is it a possibility? Yes. What it could, in terms of implications for the thing, I think then you potentially set off the whole constitutional crisis, that situation that you had with Nixon. And that's not a good position for the administration. If anything, he would let it play out and see where it goes. But you have Democrats coming into power in January, so there may be a reason for Trump. You may see a strategic reason to end the Mueller investigation now.
All right, Venu Varghese, thank you so much, Venu. Well, to be continued.